The shortstop question has hovered over this organization since Derek Jeter retired. That can't be right. They've had a real shortstop since Jates, haven't they? Can we count Tulowitzki? A quick Giggle search brought me to a New York Post article from 2021 titled "Yankees Still Searching for Derek Jeter's Long-Term Replacement at Shortstop." A year and change later, the search continues. The word search feels a little aggressive to describe how this has looked in the real. Nobody's gathering groups with flashlights to comb the forests of upstate New York. Instead, they're hoping a shortstop emerges from atop this list. Please guys, so we can have continuity our video, I ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so not to miss any new notification. First of all, Anthony Volpe. He turns 22 on April 28th. Where will he celebrate? He hit 30.3% of the time in 22 AAA games, a big jump from the 17.7% rate he had posted in 110 games in AA, so it's possible he'll spend a big part of 2023 with the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. If Oswald Peraza takes over in spring training and plays well, we may not see Volpe in the majors all year. The polar opposite is also in play, as Volpe offers the kind of topside that suggests he could settle the issue once and for all with a dominant spring or a hot start at AAA. Even riding the bus of the struggle to start 2022, Volpe finished with 21 home runs and 50 stolen bases in 132 games at the two major minor league levels. I've always been a bit under consensus on him because the Yankees hype machine is so loud, and I'm not sure his heavy-handed approach will work against truly elite pitchers, but Volpe's 80th percentile score would make him a fantasy superstar, and that puts him in elite company. In second place, Jasson Dominguez. The Dominator had been a sub early in his professional career, but he turned it around in 2022, crossing 3 levels and acing high A. .306/.397/.510 with a K rate of 18.5% and time to spend his last 5 games as a 19-year-old at AA. He hit 16 home runs and stole 37 bases in his 120 total games. He was caught stealing only 7 times, giving hope to those who would love to see him maintain some speed in his early 20s. Listed at 5 feet 10 inches, 190 pounds, the switch-hitting Dominguez looks more like 290 given the Roxas nature of his build, but so far he looks more like a running back than a pulling guard. With the pandemic break and the whispers of teenage steroids in the past, Dominguez is primed and ready for a huge 2023. In third place, Oswald Peraza. In 117 games at AAA and MLB, Peraza hit 20 home runs and stole 35 bases. He hit .197 in April 16th games and then .271 with 31 extra base hits and 29 steals in his next 83 games before getting the big call. He became a bit underrated in Volpe's shadow, but Peraza is a 6'0" 200 lb plus athlete with great hands and power still developing. He probably should have been the shortstop throughout last season and should open up in short order this season, but I'm a little concerned that the Yankees don't see an ordinary player when they look at him, in part because they rarely see an ordinary player when they look at their own prospects. Unless they are talking to media people, at that point, all their prospects look like ordinary players. In fourth place, Everson Pereira. Pereira strikes out a lot for a premium prospect, but he makes enough of an impact that he can still pick up as a regular without making significant gains in the contact department. If he figures out how to strike out less than the 30% rates he has carried throughout his career, the 6 feet 0 inches 191 pounds Pereira will destroy pitchers in his path. As it stands, he slashed .283/.341/.504 in 29 AA games, despite striking out 30.1% of the time. He's not a burner, but he has stolen 21 bases in 28 attempts at 2 levels and should be able to chip more than 10 big league steals without much trouble. Standing fifth, Austin Wells, a first-round pick in 2020, Wells came out of college as a borderline defender at catcher who could hit enough to switch over if he couldn't get behind the plate. That's pretty much what he remains a few years later. He may even be ready to contribute this season if the club doesn't insist on keeping him at catcher. He finished 2022 with 55 games at AA, slashing .261/.360/.479 with 12 home runs and 7 stolen bases. The dance of defense is already getting in the way of the timeline, in my opinion. His bat should have graduated high A last year, 130 WRC plus in 30 games, but he was sent back to Open 2022, where he dominated for 28 games, 170 WRC plus, before missing a month with injury. After a quick rehab in low A, he was promoted to double A. I'd say he'll open at triple A this season, but history suggests he may have to wait. Probably a late season call-up if the team feels he can help in the postseason. In sixth position we have him, Spencer Jones. The scouting department found a Judge prospect on the board at number 25 in this year's draft and couldn't resist the allure of 6 feet 7 inches Spencer Jones, a 225 pounds left-handed hitter with dual power and unique athleticism. From Judge to O'Neal Cruz, James Wood, Jordan Walker, Ellie De La Cruz, and Spencer Jones, we're seeing a trend of NBA-style athletes in recent years, and I'm here for it. Jones struck out just 18.9% of the time in 22 low-A games, stealing 10 bases and slashing .325/.411/.494 with 3 home runs. Side note, as a team that has been teaching the high fastball approach for years, the Yankees clearly believe in the simple equation that taller-than-tall hitters plus high fastballs equal home runs. In seventh place, Trey Sweeney. Another tall lefty, 6 feet 4 inches, hitting first-round pick, 20th overall in 2021, Trey Sweeney seems like a chimera from the rest of this list. Sorry, amalgamation. Mixing pot? Soup? Stew? What I'm trying to say is that up to this point on the list, everyone has power, speed, and a patient approach. The organization in general had a great year in the minors. Sweeney didn't bring the power that his frame implies, batting .415 in high A and then .395 in 11 games in double A, but he lost .518 in 29 games in low A last season. We can see in the isolated slugging percentages, .174, .163, that if he raises his batting average, .241 in high A, the slugging will follow. Eighth place, Andres Chaparro. There are probably only 2 players on this list who might be available in their deep dynasty leagues. Chaparro is the only one to come out running and get after blasting 20 home runs in just 71 games in 2022, hitting just 19.9% of the time to continue a steady productive climb through the levels and establish himself as an option to step into Josh Donaldson's shoes at some point in the near future. In ninth place we have Roderick Arias. A 6 feet 2 inches, 178 pound switch hitter with plus speed, Arias signed for $4 million on January 15th. He didn't have a great debut season, but it was just 31 games in the DSL, and his .194 batting average came along with .379 OBP and 113 WRC+. I tend to shy away from passive hitters, and you can't get 28 walks in 31 games without patience bordering on passive. Then again, these pitchers are definitely missing the zone a lot, so nothing conclusive by any means. In 10th place, Emmanuel Tejeda. At the other end of the money spectrum, we find Emmanuel Tejeda, who signed for $40,000 in the same class, then slashed .289/.463/.493 with a 21.8% to 13.3% walk-to-strikeout rate and 11 steals in 46 games. Listed at 5'11" 158 lbs, Tejeda has plenty of room on the board to add some extra doubles year after year.